Yeah, good old day nights. In a perfect world, what would be like your girls' night out type of night? All right. Hey, girl, how are you?
Hi, good. I'm doing great, and I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Yes, thanks for coming along and have this cute little discussion, a little daytime girls' night out, but you can have girls' night out anytime.
Right.
So, how
It's
are
always
you?
a good time to hang around with people. So,
Yes, because the pandemic, oh my goodness, it's just so hard pulling people together sometimes.
yeah, especially in these days when we get distracted so easily, and
Oh my God,
yeah.
yes. Yes. So are you working on anything? Anything exciting for you?
Well, yeah, I'm doing digital marketing. I've been doing that basically all my life.
Okay.
And as you know, I already mentioned I'm a mother of my son. He's 2, so I'm trying to be the best example for him I can, and yeah, teaching him for respect and everything. So,
That's good.
yeah, and besides that, I also like dedicate myself to I help women in need, so I donate a lot, and wherever I can help, I do that.
Okay. So like I can never say this word, like a philanthropist.
Kind of.
Kind of. Kind of. You're close, but that type of work. Okay, well
Yeah.
that's good. I've been keeping myself occupied. I don't want to say busy because sometimes busy you can be not productive, but I think just decluttering my life, and I've been writing a book. It's been really
Oh,
like mentally draining me, but
but that's exciting. That's a huge project, though. I have it in my mind. To be honest, I also wanted I have a story to tell, and many people keep telling me, "Oh, you should write a book. Like, definitely, you should write it down." But I still haven't started though.
yeah, it's I don't know what type. I'm not a writer, so writing is not my strong suit. So getting into a rhythm, it was very hard for me, and I needed people who would hold me accountable. So me saying this like over and over again, like I just have to. But yeah, I started it back in April. I hope to hand it over to my copy editor by December 31st. Like that is my ultimate goal.
Wow,
So,
good.
but yeah, that is like
So you have
the
most of it written already, right?
yes, I have. Like I said, I'm not a strong writer, so I wrote like all my notes and all of the experiences from my clients as well as myself. I gave it to my writing support team because they're like combing through what stuff doesn't mean and can I explain a little bit more, and they're like writing it out. I gave them to them around like 47,000 words. And so they're going like by chapter. So yeah, the book will definitely have like over 70,000 words, but yes.
Good. I'm so glad for you. And what's the topic?
It is
If
about defining your personal style. So the way I do it and creating like your own fashion system based on, your habits and what you do for living and stuff like that. So so actually it's two books in one. It's the content and the case study, and then book two is more of like the workbook, so you're like writing in it because it's not like I'm telling you what to buy. It's like very intense work that you have to kind of do like your homework. So I'm actually writing two books in one, but the one is like a lot for me.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, dedication, and focus. I can tell that already.
Yes. So I've been waking up early, just sitting at the desk, just writing, and okay, set the alarm. So yeah, I have to have that rhythm. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And if I may ask, like sometimes, because sometimes you need to be creative to write or just have that mood, because I hear a lot of times people who write their own books, like they can write for weeks, but then they're like, I have to take, let's say, 2 weeks off because I just can't do it. I can't focus or something.
Yeah,
Have you
the
ever
writer's block.
experienced it?
Um, my mind is just so all over the place. That's why I told the people around me, I need you guys to really hold me accountable, because when I see black and white in a bunch of words, I just get frustrated. I like colors, textures, patterns, and yeah, seeing a bunch of words, I'm kind of like, I need you to like get the ruler and like pop my hand, because I would just get focused. But the concept, I actually thought of the concept before I brought it to my author coach, and she said she really liked this concept. And when she later saw how it was written, like when she read it, she says, yeah, I think it's best that you should go self-publish, because they wouldn't know how to market this.
Yeah, but it sounds interesting to me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm hoping to release it. I wrote the goal. Hopefully it'll be out by the second quarter of 2023.
Well, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But yes, but that's like the most that's been taking up my energy. And of course, what we're going to be talking about, I've been doing a lot of it, going to therapy and just kind of just reconstructing me as a woman. But yeah, the book probably is like the mental that I've been putting on. So yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really creative, and from what I could notice, like you really like your creative side is like shouting, like, yeah, I'm here. But
Yeah,
then
I
this
cannot
book,
wait until the
yeah,
design. Yeah, the design part, I'm like, I can't wait. But the writing, and it's just a lot. I have to like mentally prepare myself. It's a lot.
I bet. But I'm sure it will come out. It will be worth it.
Yes. So we can go right into our little topic. What has therapy taught you as a woman? I'm going to have to
Yes, I
say,
actually
go ahead.
love this topic because I think it's very important and maybe very eye-opening. So I'm like all positive about therapies, and so there are several points. Now I've been doing therapy for almost 2 years, and I feel like I've changed or grown so much personally. I learned about the importance of setting boundaries, about defining what I want, what I don't want, because that's also very important.
Right.
About self-respect, self-love, becoming more objective about myself,
Right.
accepting myself, in and out, and most importantly, that I deserve to be and feel as a woman.
This is actually my second round of going to therapy. I actually first got introduced to therapy in 2013, because the type of work I was initially going to school for healthcare, and I was working with HIV and AIDS patients. And a nurse just, strongly suggested that I take therapy, because the job itself was just a lot. And then the culture was just a lot, because I was in Miami, Florida, and I am a New Jersey girl from the suburbs. And it was just a lot going on. It was like a culture shock, like literally. So that was my first round of going through therapy, and it just made me just unravel a lot of things that I didn't even know about myself in my early 20s. Me just being away from everyone and just dealing with things, challenges, and also just emotional intelligence. That was like the first time I've ever heard of it. And then this second round, I told myself I wanted to do therapy, but when the pandemic hit and then a very close relative of mine passed away, I started out doing like grieving therapy to kind of just help me deal with that grief period. And then that kind of just led to, okay, well, now you need to start redefining and reconstructing your life. And that just funneled into so many things, because I needed to redefine what I wanted in a friend, my wants and my needs, what was priority now. I'm pretty good at setting boundaries. It's interesting you said it, but I don't know. I don't like beating around the bush. I don't like the gray area. I want to be very like upfront with people. So I think that's why I'm probably okay with setting boundaries with people. What else? I think definitely a new self-awareness through like a new lens for myself this time around. But definitely just redefining and just kind of opening my eyes, especially since I was like sitting in silence, because that cousin was like very, very near and dear to me. And I just had to like stop what I was doing and kind of just really hone in on what I wanted for myself.
Yeah, and you also said like it opened your eyes, and I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, because I feel the same way. And also you mentioned that you went away from your family, and that's interesting because I read a quote about it recently. I think from Angelina Jolie, that she said you have to like go. So you have to know who you are when you're not around with your family, and then find out like what you need and what you want. And that's what I did as well. I'm from Europe, Slovakia, and then I came to the United States by myself, and also since 2013, and I started in Miami as well. So for me, it was really a culture shock.
Yes. Miami is
so
very
I can
different.
totally relate. Yeah, I can relate. And on top of it, like, I don't know in which part of Miami, but in many parts, they don't speak English. And I didn't speak Spanish at the time.
They speak Creole. They speak Creole and Spanish. I actually was fluent in Spanish. My mom paid for Spanish classes. She did not want me to be, she just wanted me to be ahead. I actually spoke fluent Spanish. And then when I moved, like, it just went out the window, because I just learned so much. And if I'm not practicing it, like, it'll go out the window. But I actually spoke fluent Spanish, like, and they were surprised.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that I couldn't speak English there because, I was expecting, I'm coming to the United States, so I'm gonna. And on my first day when I went to the supermarket, and I was like, where can I find the milk? Just a simple question. And they were like, Espanol. And I'm like, I don't know Spanish.
Right.
So, yeah, but then I eventually learned. So now I can speak Spanish. But now I live in Las Vegas, and here, yeah, most people speak English. So.
Yeah, that's definitely like a great thing when you move like out of state or out of town. I think that's like the greatest growth that I've like ever done, because I was able to truly identify with my core self with no one looking. And if I made a mistake, I could hold myself accountable, journal, and figure out which way do I want to go. Do I want to progress more? Do I want to work on it more? Do I want to get assistance? But I think that's definitely one of the ways why I was able to kind of just set boundaries, because I moved a lot in my 20s. I don't want to move again, but I have moved a lot. I think I moved like 7 or 8 times in my 20s. So every year and a half, I'm like, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah, and I was actually talking about this with my friend the other day, and she's also living in Las Vegas, but she's from Europe as well, from Switzerland. And we were thinking about like, oh, would you go back to Europe?
Mm-hmm.
And like, kind of, I was like, one side of me, yes, because I have my family there, and I have support and everything. But then I was like, but here in the United States or in Las Vegas, I'm by myself and I can just be myself.
Right.
Whereas where I'm close to my relatives, then I feel like I have to meet expectations, and that's work that I have to do, and I know, but it's still like I haven't been back for a while, so I don't know if it still would be the same, but I know that when I was there, when I was living there, I felt like, oh, I have to, my parents have expectations, and then I have
Right.
to be this and that. And I just got lost, and now it's just me. So I just have to meet my own expectations.
Right. I definitely think some people get kind of just lost in family traditions or family identities that they don't really know who themselves are.
Yeah.
Luckily, I kind of just was like, I gotta go explore.
Yeah,
So
I did
yeah,
the
I
same
left.
thing. So,
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing to definitely do that. And if you get lost, therapy is like, I say it's like a paid friend. She's there. They're there.
exactly.
Yeah, they're there to listen to you, to calm you through and walk you through certain situations. And they have an unbiased opinion about you. That's like a great thing
That's what
about
I
it.
was going to say. Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
a friend, but then they're also like objective, like not biased.
Yes. I
Yeah.
definitely want to get into how did you know that your therapist was the right one for you? Because I put emphasis on you knowing that you guys are going to gel like great. Like you have to like filter through. It's not just like, oh, I got a therapist. Let me start going. Like they have to gel with your personality or your background. Like how did you know your therapist was the right one for you?
That is a great question, actually. And I was questioning. I asked myself the same question, like, is she the right one for me? Because I was expecting maybe someone more like straightforward, and she was just be like, yeah, like very nice, very polite, and I prefer saying it straight, But then I also know that she's um, like she has some rules that she has to follow.
Right.
But basically, the first few weeks were like, yeah, I like her, and I think she helps me.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, would I switch to another therapist?
Right.
Um, but then I stick to her. I stick with her actually, and I think I made a good decision because then I just kind of like felt like we are on the same wave or vibe or however we want to call it. And the most important thing for me is that she was understanding, or she's understanding, and she can, if I ask her, then she can like guide me. She
Right.
still would, so they still let you find out,
Mm-hmm.
but they can guide you. So um, yeah, for me, the most important thing was the feeling rather than like checking the list. So
Right.
I don't know what was like, what's your case? How did you know that she's the, or he is the right for you?
Well, the first round, because I did it twice. So the first round, I just kind of selected, but I was in the health field, so there was like a network of therapists, and this one was suggested to me. So I was just open to the idea of therapy. I didn't know like a lot of people that they had to gel with you, but luckily me and her gelled, and she also just stretched my knowledge of so many things. She was a Hispanic woman, but she was married to like an African, so she knew like some of the cultural things that I was going through because she wasn't from Miami. So the shock that I was getting, she also had. So she was able to walk me through some of those things. And but this second time around, I had certain questions. I wanted to know how well were they versed in emotional intelligence, since she had introduced me to that, and I didn't want to leave that out on this go round since I am like so much more advanced. It's been like it's 10 years actually now. Um, this time around, I wanted an African American one only because I was grieving from my cousin, and there were some family dynamics that I knew only an African American woman would understand. What else was I looking for? And I also wanted someone to specialize in grief as well because I took that one very hard. Um, but yeah, I had like certain things that I wanted the therapist to have because that was the goal that I wanted. I wanted to find ways to grieve. I wanted them to help me exercise that, and she did. She did understand, the family dynamics within the African American, how we're like structured and how that they're thinking and stuff like that. And the emotional intelligence was there. So that is how I did it. I just wrote down what I wanted to get accomplished out of therapy, and then I just kind of seeked for a therapist that had those specific characteristics in their bios, and then I kind of just picked their brain to see how well versed they were. But the first time, I had absolutely no idea.
So the first time was random.
Yes, and
Well,
luckily,
recommend it. So
yeah, and luckily we gelled. So she was wonderful.
yeah, I think it's very important that you feel good with your therapist because, well, that's the main objective, that you can feel safe and relaxed,
Right,
and so you can open up and then
right,
grow. So yeah, I think it's very important too.
right. I also like to say that I picked up journaling a lot. I can't go a day without journaling. Do you journal?
I journal not every day, but I
Okay.
do journal. I journal mostly like when there is some significant event, like good or bad. So
Hmm.
it's not that I just write down the good things or just the bad things. No,
Right.
I do both. Um, and it helps. It helps. I remember the first time I journaled, I didn't know it was journaling. I
Hmm.
just it came to me kind of like is like an instinct or something, and I was like so unhappy. That was my like first love or
Entry.
crush, yeah. And that was after, like, I wasn't very happy, and I took a paper and I started writing it down, and I was crying, and but then I felt so relieved. I was
Yes.
actually like surprised, like, oh wow, like now I wrote everything down and I just don't feel it anymore inside, like
Right. It's
and
like
I
a
was so
release.
yeah.
Hmm.
um yeah, and eventually that letter I burned. but 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 it felt great. Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah, I
do
feel
and
like
do you journal like with pen and paper, or do you do it in a digital form? Because
I
today it's
write it.
different.
It's right next to my little coffee table. Yeah, I
Yeah,
journal. I
I
write
think
it.
there is a certain magic to like writing out things manually, like
Yeah.
handwritten. Um, I mean, writing it digitally is also a great option, but it's just like reading a physical book and then reading a digital book. There is a
Yeah.
certain difference. Both benefit you though. Um, but yeah, I prefer also like handwritten notes. And then I can always like, the other day I found my book from like 3 years ago, no, 4 years ago,
Hmm.
and I wrote down my goals there, and I was like, oh, like, okay, so this one is like, this one I accomplished, this one and this one, and it felt so good. I'm like, oh
Right.
wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
found my journal too. Like, cause I've been like clean. I've been doing like a deep clean. I found my journal. I looked at the date and it was like a year and like 3 days later. And I'm like, man, look at my mood, how it was. So I like looking back at it. I think writing is better. Maybe I'll release it. I don't know. But until then, it's kind of just cool to just monitor where you were a year ago, your moods, and just to release it. Just especially since people are not meeting. I like to meet in person.
Yes.
I'm not a digital type of girl. I hate texting. I hate texting because my mind can be everywhere. I'm looking at like stuff and I just get distracted. But I feel like my journal is like my friends. I talk to her like she's one of the girls. And yeah, I don't know. Some people just write. I don't know. Some people just have their method, but I treat my journal as if it's like a friend, like I'm talking to like one of the girls.
Yeah. I actually like that approach. I think it's very it's different,
Mm-hmm.
but I like it because it's like when you're talking to your friend, it's just you talk what comes to your mind,
Yep.
and it's not like you have to follow something, or it's just it comes maybe more natural, more relaxed.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that idea actually.
Yeah.
And I haven't been thinking about that way, like, but I'm talking to myself as well. And so when I'm alone, like I'm talking even like loud, not only in my head, you know? And it's kind of funny. I was like, oh, if somebody just saw me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as long as it feels good and I feel the benefits of it,
Mm-hmm.
I, I'll welcome anything, you know?
Yeah. Some people do it like in the morning, like as soon as they wake up, or at night. I'm like in between. I'll do it whenever like my mind is like, I need to talk to my homegirl. Let me pull out my little journal. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think this.
I usually journal if I do it at before bedtime, but then there are like sometimes I just, oh, this happened, I have to write this down, you know.
Yes. I'm like, girl, guess
So
what's about to happen today? So yeah, I treat her just like a friend. So if anyone ever finds my journal, you are going to be like, what in the world? Who is she talking to? So yes, I'm going to have to
that's
thank my
fun.
therapist for just pushing that back on to me doing that. She also had me do like exercises. Did your therapist do that?
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
I think that's a great way um to hold you accountable,
Yeah.
and also many sometimes it might be out of your comfort zone.
Right.
um but then once you're out of your comfort zone, you realize that the comfort zone is not really that comfortable.
No.
So yeah, I've done different exercises. One that like stayed with me the most is was it was about setting boundaries, because I know that I was lacking that,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped me a lot. So that was the first thing that comes to my mind. But I did like multiple exercises, and also I started with her as a couples therapy, so
Mm-hmm.
we did a lot of exercises for that as well. Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite exercise, maybe, or the one that stands out the most?
She had me do a lot because initially she asked me how do I learn, like what is my top three, and I learn better by seeing and then doing. So she had me do a lot of exercise. She had me create like a vision board of how I see myself in the mirror, and then she did one of how she sees me. We did that. I thought that was very cool. She had me take the love language test all over again, and I found it very, very interesting because words of affirmation was not high for me, maybe because the cousin that had passed away was no longer there, so that score went up. um what was the one I think was very interesting was her making me do like a job. It was like a job application, but it was like your friends. You're looking for new friends. So what is the description that you want your new friends to be? I think that one was like the most like hard one. I'm just like, I don't know what I want. I think that was the one that like really stuck out because I was just like, I don't know what I want, but I don't feel like the friends that I had, the friends that I had currently really aren't fitting the needs and wants now that it has shifted. So that one was like very aggravating, and it definitely took me like a month to complete.
Yeah. Well, it sounds interesting and definitely not easy.
Right. But I got
Yeah.
through it. Yes. Do you think that your friend, do you still have like the same friendships since you've gone to therapy that you've grown?
Well, I do have the same friendships, but I don't feel maybe the same about them.
Yeah, I think that's the question. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly, like I've grown, and I'm not saying that they are in the same place, but it's just the mindset, or it's just the different shift of perspective, maybe.
Right.
And I can see so many differences, which I don't mind if there are differences, but then sometimes I just feel better when we think about certain topics and values about the same, so I can
Right.
connect better, I can relate better. Whereas also about self-respect, I think it's very important, and many, unfortunately, many women just don't put themselves first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they like find reasons and excuses, like, oh yeah, it's because this and that, this and that. And I used to do the same. So like, I'm right here.
Right.
But the beauty of the therapy is that it showed me and it taught me to respect myself more.
Right.
And that is definitely like life-changing for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm like, am I doing this wrong if I feel this way about a friendship? And she's just like, no, sometimes friends are really there for just a season, or you outgrow them, or your priorities just change up. Especially as a woman, you are the nurturer, and if you have a kid, like, that becomes the priority, your household. And that's why a lot of friendships kind of just dwindle. But in my case, I just outgrew some of the things that they were doing, the thinking, the activities. I just wasn't excited about doing that. I wanted to kind of just move on to the next phase of life. And some people are not ready to have that discussion or face that reality, or they don't want to put in the work like I'm doing and be uncomfortable during a certain time and working through it, or a lot of this. And also they don't want to communicate what they truly feel, because I'm like a very communicative type of individual. So yeah, I think that's probably a portion of why that exercise with the friends was so difficult, because I was just like, I don't know where I stand, because this is such a transitional phase of my life.
And then many people, even though like we all know that growth is great, but then it brings change with it.
Yeah.
And many people are so afraid of change
Yeah.
that they'd rather, as a coping mechanism, just stay in the same place,
Yeah.
regardless if it's like better or worse for them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely was one of those people who did not like change. I did not like change. But once I was like moving around from state to state and exploring different cultures and talking to people, I kind of saw the good and the bad of change. And I said, oh, I like this. Like, I want to explore more. I want to discover more. So I was able to adapt to that and encourage it, because if not, you're kind of going to stay stagnant. I don't like being crazy enough. I don't like staying stagnant, but change, like an abrupt change, I'm just like, ooh. But now I'm used to it. I think it's for the better.
Yeah, for me, change, interestingly enough, I always liked like the idea of change, but then I was afraid because I can't come from a very conservative family. So they think like, one thing you do, that's for a lifetime. Like, you don't change anything, you do everything the same. And so I was kind of like afraid to change. And then I remember I saw this quote or picture, how the butterfly is transformed, and they say like, oh, you changed so much. And then the response of the butterfly is like, yeah, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And it just hit me. I'm like, yeah, like change doesn't have to be negative. Like, change can be a wonderful thing. And look at the butterfly, and it was very it just hit me. So, and then I opened up more, and I think change is a wonderful thing. I mean, not always very, maybe as we expected. Yeah.
And a face value, right.
It definitely has its
pros and cons.
It can teach you lessons or bring you blessings, but either way, you come out good, I think, at the end.
Yeah, I think it also just adds character to you as well when you do change. Because if you just stay stagnant, everything is just repeated. You know what's coming, you know what's expected. When you change stuff up, it's like the unknown, but then it's like, man, am I going to step on the good side of this or am I going to step on the bad side? And maybe this can help me, teach me something, or propel my venture for something, maybe not now, but in the long run. But it's just so many upsides to it. That's why I make sure I do like a date night for myself every week. I've been doing this consecutively for like 3 months now. That is definitely a change for me. So yeah, a date night is like sipping paint. I know last week I did like a speed dating network. I went to the movies by myself. Like, I just make a day where I am out for at least 4 hours. I have it down to a T that I have to do that. So that's like a huge change for me. So I'm liking the results. I think it's fun. It's definitely fun just finding new things to do. Soon I'm definitely probably going to take up a hobby. I think I want to pick up sewing. I think that's going to be my confirmed hobby for 2023. So but yeah, just doing those little exercises is fun, and socializing and meeting new people as well.
And also, you mentioned like you go on a date, but I think like people generally think about dating like, oh, dating. So you actually go with someone. But then I think it's also important to kind of date ourselves.
Right.
So to have this quality time, and because most of the people don't feel comfortable just going out by themselves, or going to a restaurant or to a movie, and they feel weird, or they have to be on the phone just to distract themselves.
Right.
But I think it's a wonderful thing if you can enjoy your own company, because how will somebody else enjoy it if you can't stand yourself?
Yeah, I like being by myself. When the pandemic happened, I was like, oh, we could be in the house by ourselves. I was actually happy. For me, I was actually happy because I was just like, oh, I'm going to paint. I'm going to redecorate. I just had I'm okay with being by myself. I'm not one of those that's like, I need to be around people. I actually like a small group of friends, or I could just go places by myself. But yeah, sitting by myself, a lot of people are like, you're here by yourself. And I'm just like, yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, not too many females will do that. And I'm just like, well, I'm not those females. But it's just crazy. But yeah, date nights, that is definitely that was another little strategy my therapist suggested I do. She told me to like lay out different places, but I'm just like, I live near New York City and things are happening like all the time, or sometimes at the last minute. I just make sure I land a day on what day I'm gonna go, and I've been doing that scatter. I don't want that to be like every Friday night I'm going out, because last week it was Wednesday. This week's coming up, I'm going to do Saturday. So I do scatter days when I go out and stuff.
Yeah, so it's not so it doesn't become like, it is a routine, but it is also not. So it's
mixing it up. When it gets when it gets warmer outside, I'm going to try Philly as well. But New York and New Jersey is the area, because it's cold and I'm sure it's going to be snowing soon. I hate this weather. But yeah, until then, it's date night whenever. It's fun. When's the last time you've taken yourself out on a date?
Well, let me think about it, because actually, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that that long time ago. It was actually last week, because my dad came to visit, because I live only like me and my son, but so he's two, so I cannot do many things, I'm just limited. But last week, my dad was here visiting from Europe. And I'm like, oh, great. So now I can just, take care of myself. And so I went and I did a hot tub. I went to the sauna, and I just gave some quality time to myself. Yes. I was meditating a lot, and I came out all fresh and
rejuvenated.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
that was amazing, and it just reminded me like how important it is to take care of ourselves and not just get lost in the day-to-day tasks and
Right.
duties and chores. Yeah.
Yeah, good old day nights. In a perfect world, what would be like your girls' night out type of night?
Um, I like so I think the first thing by default when we talk about girls' night out, I would think like, oh, let's go like clubs or so. But in my perfect world, that's not necessarily the case, because I prefer. I like quality talk and like deep conversations. So also smaller group of people.
Hmm.
Um, so that would be definitely nice. Starting with the nice weather,
Right.
somewhere outside. I just meet with my girlfriends and share, I don't know, a drink maybe, and talk about. I like deeper topics. I like
Yeah.
also like touching philosophical topics and also like growth,
Hmm.
um, and well, friendships, obviously.
Right.
But my favorite topics are topics that we can learn from and grow rather
Hmm.
than talking about someone else.
Right. The
Yeah.
gossip and stuff. A perfect girls'
Yeah.
night for me, it would be traveling to a warm country. I'm going to say Jamaica just to say it, but Jamaica, Bahamas, something warm so we can get away. We have no phone unless you're telling them, you've made it safe. Of course, we have endless food. We have a nice little villa. Yeah, we have a nice little girl. I like ambiance. I'm the bougie friend, so I like nice stuff. Stuff like that. So yeah, that would be my ultimate girls' night out. A girls' night weekend, I would say, like a 3-day weekend, and yeah, we're around nice ambiance, warm weather because I love warm weather, and we're just really relaxed. It's a real relaxed environment, and we're all relaxed, laughing, no phones, and yeah,
Sounds like I want to be there right now. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, and I like the point with the phone. I don't even think about it because I take it like naturally. But then the other day, and that's interesting because the other day someone just told me like, oh, what I like about you is that you're being so present in the moment, like you're
hmm,
not on your phone when you are with someone. And I wouldn't think about it because it just comes natural to me, and now you're mentioning it, so
yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely very important to
Yes,
spend quality time.
I see some people on their phone so much, like when I'm out, it's like ridiculous. I had made a rule when we're out, whoever touches their phones first, you have to pay for the bill. I actually
Oh,
do
that's a
this.
good one.
Yeah, I actually do this. I know a couple of people was like, we're going to have to steal this rule. But yeah, some people are just so glued to the phone. And I know everyone is like, everything is done on the phone, but I mean, goodness gracious, I'm my own business owner and I'm not that much glued to the phone. I'm able to dedicate, my undivided attention to you when it's needed. But yeah, no, an hour of your
Exactly.
time, at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You can do without the phone unless you got like someone's having a heart attack or someone's just died.
Right.
Then of course, but yeah, that email or text message can wait. So yeah, the
Exactly.
rule is if you touch your phone, you are paying for the bill.
I'm going to implement that. Yeah.
Yes. Phones are
Yeah,
right
I
in the
like
middle of
it.
the table. It's all in the middle of the table, and whoever touches the phone and it's face down as well. It's stacked.
All right.
So yes.
Yeah, because I feel like time is our most precious asset that we
Mm-hmm.
have, and so if you're saying like, oh, you're willing to give it to me because you're coming out with me, but then you're not really there,
Right.
then it's like, what's the point? I would rather instead of being 2 hours, maybe just be half an hour, but that half an hour, I want you to be here with me.
Yeah, fully there instead of just like half there and like, oh, I'm waiting for an email. Like, no, you're not fully here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is my ultimate little girls' night out. And that's my little rule that I do, not even with my personal life, but when I take my team out, yeah, no phones. This is fun time. So yeah, I implement that rule because I'm not consumed by the world and the news. Yeah, no.
And it will be there. You can still check it out later.
Yeah, digital is not going anywhere. Anything on the internet is not going. We live in the world of screen recording, so it's not going anywhere. Someone has it. You just have to look. Maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, craziness. So we're gonna have a little eavesdropper. We have someone who voiced their opinion on what has therapy done for them as a woman. I had to disguise her voice because she said it was very distinctive and she did not want anyone to know. So you ready to hear?
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna have to say, emotional regulating my emotions. Therapy has definitely has taught me to do that, and also help setting boundaries, and also awareness. I'm still working on that, but it's just been a very, very long journey for me as far as emotional regulation and just setting healthy boundaries. That's definitely been a tricky thing. I have not seen an example in my household, so for me it was just very tricky and just a challenge for me to kind of just set that into place and to just program myself, and it just really put my foot down and stop stressing myself out. I was really good for that. I see the difference in my blood pressure that is not high now that I have set my boundaries. So I definitely think as a woman, that is what therapy has helped me and shaped me as well.
That's our eavesdropper who chimed on in.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, they were also talking about like boundaries. That's I think that's one thing that stands out so much. And every therapist will try to like that's the basic. That's the basic. So we start there, and you have to have your boundaries. And because before I was looking at it like, oh, if I'm setting my own boundaries, that might be disrespectful to someone else, but it's actually not. You're just being respectful to yourself. Yeah, and they just said it as well. So
yeah, she said a lot. She said setting boundaries, emotional regulation. I know she said that her blood pressure was even like lower after going to therapy because I guess her emotions were just all over the place. Exactly. And not setting your boundaries you're allowing your friends to kind of just emotionally dump like all their problems onto you. You're not setting the boundaries for yourself. So you're kind of just stressing yourself out while they're stressing themselves out, or you're just getting anxiety or whatever she's feeling. She didn't really go into specific details, but yeah, that's like a silent killer if you don't regulate it. Yeah,
it is. And you were also talking about emotional intelligence, like how important it is, and
yes,
and it really is important. And I think not a lot of people talk about emotional intelligence. People, when you say intelligence, people think like IQ, but there is also EQ, and it's really important. I would say sometimes in some situations, even like more important or significant, because yeah, there can be, we cross our lives with so many people, and psychopaths can be really intelligent but then have zero emotional intelligence.
Right. So they can't control their emotions.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, definitely important.
Yeah, I think the journaling helped me kind of identify where I need to start with my emotional intelligence, because I wasn't able to just say, I struggle with this. It left me like speechless, and I'm just like, I understand the definition and her definition of it, but I just was like, I don't really know where I need to apply it. So journaling definitely helped me kind of just identify and start the process of the emotional intelligence of it all. But
yeah, and a part of it is accepting our emotions. Like you don't just suppress them, because it's just gonna get worse. So
yes.
and it's kind of like counterintuitive, that oh, now I'm feeling angry and I don't want to feel angry, so now I have to like acknowledge and accept it that I'm angry when I don't want to be angry. So it's just
Right.
but then once you go through it and you accept it, once it's accepted, it just goes away by like, yeah, you calm down so much quicker. At least that's what I feel. So I don't know how you feel about it.
I think it goes quicker because I know how I react to certain things, and I've been assisted by my therapist on how I can change my thinking, or what do I need to do to resolve it, or what activity I need to do to kind of just clear my mind from the whatever is like causing me to be emotional. And she also taught me like it's okay to sit in my feelings, like you're human, you're a woman, you're supposed to feel your feelings, but don't do the reactional type of thing and you're going to regret it later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it applies to so many things. I was working with people who suffer from anxiety, and unless they accepted actually that anxious feeling, we couldn't really like work it out, because for the first thing, so you have to acknowledge like, yeah, I'm anxious, I'm not denying it, this is
Right.
what's happening. Because if you deny it, how you're going to fix something that you don't
No,
that
it
you say is
exists.
not there. You know, so yeah, it's definitely like one of the steps, and it's very important.
Yeah, identifying it or admitting that you are
Admitting, yeah.
something is like is the stepping stone, and then once from there you can kind of just comb through the root of why you're doing it, what's causing it, and X, Y, and Z.
And I also think what help, and I practice it every day, morning and night. And I teach it to my son as well. Like, let's say, tell me 3 or 5 things what you are thankful for that happened to you today. What did you like the most about this day? And that just like grounds us and brings us to the present moment. So we're not anxious about the future or depressed about the past, because we are just right now, right here.
Right.
And that's that. I think that also can contribute to the growth, the emotional intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah. I put little words of affirmations around my apartment. So like when I grab my keys, there's a phrase that says there's no cure for regrets. So that's like a constant reminder when I leave, like whatever you're doing, like you have to do it or you're going to be regretting it. I have another one in my office that says no, and the N says next opportunity, and then the O is opportunity. So I have like little words of affirmations just like placed in certain places, and then yeah, I'm probably gonna be changing it when the New Year's comes, but yeah, I think the words of affirmation kind of just helps me kind of just boost my
Yeah,
mind in a more positive place.
I like affirmations. I think they're amazing, and many people just like disregard them. But I think like they are so powerful, especially when you really read them or tell them or tell yourself in the mirror. You know, that
Right.
affirmation, that's also very powerful. And I have like quotes, also a lot of quotes. I love quotes. And I have one right there in my board. You probably can't see it, but I really liked it. And it says, the last one that I wrote down like 2 days ago, it says that perhaps we should love ourselves so fiercely so that when other people see us, they know exactly how to do it.
Right.
And I just liked it. I think it's very powerful when we think about it, because we really have to love ourselves, because it starts with us. It doesn't start with the other person. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, a lot of us kind of just, I'm going to say some of us women have been taught that it starts with when you guys are two and not just you are you as one. But yeah, it definitely starts with you knowing you and you loving you first. And then you're just extending it on to the other person and also providing the guide of how you need to be treated or how you need to be handled in X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, my mom always used to tell me, like, she's like, and she taught me this. I couldn't really like feel, I guess I just had to go through so many things. So now I understand. But she always told me, no, you have to love yourself first. And then if another person comes, that's a bonus. But it's not, that love is not the first love. Your love is the first love.
Right.
And then whatever comes like next, that's just a bonus, cherry on the top.
Right. Yeah. That's the add-on.
Yeah, that's the add-on. So,
yes.
and there's there was also like talking about quotes. If I have another quote which I really like, and it says, "We need women who are so strong they can be gentle, so educated they can be humble, so fierce they can be compassionate, so passionate they can be rational, and so disciplined they can be free."
I like that.
Yeah, it's by Kavita Ramadas. She's an advocate for gender equity and justice. And I really like it, because usually when we think about like being strong, we automatically exclude like, oh, so you cannot be gentle. But that's not true. You can be so strong that you can be gentle. Right. Because I think people many times mistaken being gentle for being weak, but that's not true.
No.
The same for crying.
It takes a lot of control. It takes a lot of control to be gentle and soft.
Exactly. And she said it in one sentence, so like so many things, and I just liked it, so I wanted to share it with you.
Yes, I like that one. I'm going to I might put that in a nice little frame for next year. Yes, I like that. There was a question that popped in my head. Would you take your friends to therapy to do friend therapy?
I would be definitely open to it. I would be open to it. I'm not sure if, well, I think that also depends on the maturity of the other person, because some people think like, oh, therapy, there's nothing wrong with me, but nothing has to be wrong with you to go to therapy. It's just that you want to grow. It's like having a mentor, and if you have a mentor, it's not that you can't do anything. It's just you're taking a shortcut kind of. So yeah, I would be open. Yeah. Would you?
Absolutely. I would definitely do it. Yes. I would do it.
Fun.
I would actually do a mother and child therapy as well. I would be open to doing that.
I'm actually taking my sons to therapies as well, and he's only 2. He's going to be 3 in January. But yeah.
Oh my God, he's going to be so advanced.
Yeah. I do what I can for him. Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing. If anyone can benefit from therapy, like I said, it is like a paid friend. They are unbiased. Whatever you tell them, they will work through it. If you don't tell them something, then they're not going to know. But they only can help you as much as, you tell them. And that's the only way that they can help you and identify in whatever you need to do. And also, if you don't have a goal, I don't know how else you think that they're going to help you, because they're not they're not mind readers. But I would definitely have to say, when you're finding a therapist, I would definitely have to say, make sure you know your goal before you even like start fishing through the network of therapy. Know what you want to conquer. If you are going through grief, or if you're just transitioning, or you just want to grow, like, just know what you want to
work
do.
on your self-confidence.
Just whatever goal you want to accomplish, go into therapy or counseling, write that down and
communicate it.
Yes. And then once you've done that, definitely like start looking through the therapist and seeing what their specialties are, so you could kind of get a feel of which ones you want to kind of, talk to get a feel. Because like I said, you definitely need to gel with your therapist, because they need to be your friend. Because if it's uncomfortable talking to them within the first 1 or 2 meetings, then you're not going to feel comfortable with like your personal space.
Opening up. Yeah.
Right.
And there's also a tricky part to therapy, which I think, because they don't know everything about you. So I think that the tricky part is, people tend to make their reality more like what favors them. So here you have to really like have the self-control and discipline to tell the story as it is. I know it's always going to be your version, so obviously, but you can, because you can admit to yourself like, oh yeah, this part maybe I didn't do like the best part, or I didn't say the best thing. But then the tricky part at the therapy is admitting it actually, like, oh yeah, maybe I said this and maybe I shouldn't have said that. Whereas some people wouldn't tell it. It's like, oh no, I depict the other person or the situation or the circumstance, like, oh, that's at fault, but I'm saying, it's just
taking accountability. Taking accountability for what you've done or said. But like I said, they are unbiased and they cannot tell your secrets. Like, they're under a certain type of regulation. If they leak your information, like, they can be fired and they can be penalized for it. So if you are ready to take accountability and tell your wrongs or tell your whole situation, it can be a great thing and a learning experience.
Yeah, because that's how you can benefit the most from it. That's how they can help you the most. Whereas if you just try staying like look good, then you're stealing it from yourself, the opportunity to grow. Yeah,
you'll be the one wasting your money and time.
Exactly.
So I suggest when you are ready to be honest with yourself and take accountability and talk to your, like I said, it's a paid confidential friends, and I literally mean that. It'll be a great experience. And whenever you want to change your therapist, or you feel like you've outgrown that therapist, you can go on to another one that specializes in something else. Like, you don't need to keep staying, because I know there's like some people who stay for like 5 years, and I'm just thinking to myself like, man, 5 years, that's a long time for a therapist. Yeah. And they're going every week. Some people go like every other week or once a month, but this person was going like every week, like every Friday, 2 p.m. Like, it was like, I'm like, man, you must have a lot of things to unpack, but they did. So no judgment.
Yeah.
No judgment. But those are definitely my tips if you guys are seeking to find a therapist so you can grow. Would you add anything to it, my list? The list I just created off the whim?
I think you picked the most important thing. So definitely the vibe, so you can feel safe and really open up. And then just try to, if you go to a therapist and you talk to them, try to describe the situation as it is, even though it feels like really uncomfortable to tell the part where you don't look that good, maybe in that situation. And then just don't be ashamed to be yourself, because it's important to be you and become more and more comfortable with being
Right.
you, and a better version of you, thanks to the therapy as well, every time.
Yes. And also don't be afraid to admit that you are outgrowing your friends, because I definitely felt terrible that phase was happening. I asked my therapist, and then I also asked like my business mentor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, girl, you're just going through life. Life
Yeah.
is just lifing." And I'm just like, "So I'm not alone?" She's just like, "No."
Yeah, there are people who will accompany us for a short time, some people for a longer time, and some people just grow with us, but most people won't.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys hear it first. If you outgrow your friends just by going to therapy alone, you are not alone. Because I definitely was like looking over my shoulders, like, oh my God, am I? Let me get used to this new thing. So you are not alone if you outgrow. But it's a lonely thing in the beginning. It depends on how attached you are with your friends, but over time you'll kind of get over it. And if you go out and do like date night like I do, I'll talk to people like every week. So I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. And I've actually collected a couple of female friends. They're like older women, but they still like, oh yeah, let's hang out in like January. I have to like really plan out, but yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think it's a part of life. Someday I would like to have kids, and I know that's going to be like my top priority, especially the way the world is going right now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But I mean, I just look at it as it's just preparing me for the future me. It's helping me kind of just detach from I guess you can say like my 20s, because in my 20s I was very attached to my friends. My friends were like everything to me. And now that I'm kind of just detached and I have other two priorities that are more focused, it's kind of allowing me to detach from them and really just hone in on me and what I want in life. And I'm very happy. Like my mind is very clear. There's clarity in so many things. There's no distractions. And the friendships
No
are,
drama.
yes, the friendships are a lot more meaningful. And the bond, I'm going to have to say, is a lot more substantial than what it was before.
Yes. Yes. So definitely as we grow, our friendships deepen, or maybe not the same ones, but we can find new friendships that they are on a deeper
Yeah.
level. So yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. What did you want to cheers to? Did you learn anything? Are you working on anything? What do you want to cheers to? So I have my little water.
Yeah, I have actually my coffee.
Okay.
So I want to cheers to this wonderful meeting and chit chat that we had. I'm really grateful. I think it was amazing, and that we could share with other people. Maybe give them some tips what to search for in a therapist, and in general, that it's not a shame to go to therapies, and and then that new friendships can maybe with quality or be of higher quality, even though they are shorter ones. But you might have a friend from I have my friend from since I was born, pretty much. And I love her, she's my best friend still, but maybe I don't feel anymore that close to her as just because of what we talked. So yeah, cheers on quality relationships with ourselves and with others.
Yes. I want to cheers to I think we are I keep saying this, but we are all similar. Life is such a collaborative thing, and doesn't matter what your age, your race, where you're from. A lot of women have a lot of commonality. than differences. The setting boundaries, I feel like that is such a common thing.
Yeah.
But I am like an anomaly. Like I think it's because I did track and I was an athlete as a child. So setting boundaries and being militant, like, no, we're not doing this. We're doing this. I'm a bit assertive. So like I said, I don't have a problem kind of saying no, and that's that. But just talking to some of the women doing a public interview and just listening to you, a lot of women kind of just struggle with setting boundaries. So I think that's what I learned today. But I'm also just happy to just talk to so many women. This is what this show is all about, talking to women, variety of women, because we're not all the same. We all have different factors, backgrounds, and we all want different things. Yeah, we all want different things, and we all do it differently. So I want to show this to the world. And especially since the Gen Alpha, I don't even know where they are now, but they consume information on the internet, and I want them to see that, yeah, you can do it however you want, but it's just, you have to base it off of certain factors in your life, and you're not alone. There's other women that also do it that way as well.
Yeah, we all have our own struggles, but then in some way, I think women can relate to each other a lot. And
Right.
there are similarities, as you say, and I think we should just empower each other instead of competing against each other. Yeah. So
Yes. So cheers.
cheers.
Our little digital cheers. Yes. That was so much fun. And if you guys want to call in and be a part of this show, you can leave a voicemail. You're not going to get me. You're not going to get Katarina. You can join in by calling in 202-480-9557. State the question: what has therapy done for you as a woman? Or if you haven't gone to therapy, you can tell us, hey, my goal is to go to therapy in 2023. Here is what I want to accomplish. Of course, your name is not going to be voiced and your number is not going to be voiced. It's going to be anonymous. I promise. I'm very big on privacy, but yeah, you can be a part of the show and we will insert it in. This is so much fun. Our little girls' night out.
I loved it.
So we will see you guys later. Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.